Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the YouTube channel grecochess. I'm your host, Harry Lasaniziris, and we continue in this video, this channel that is all about the game of chess. And this video, we continue facing the chess.com bots. In the previous video, we defeated David from Peru with the white pieces, and now it's my turn to play with the black pieces, and David will have the white pieces. And let me share the screen with you. And here is the screen. And David once again is going to tell us, hola, come at me. And as you see, David's rating is 1400. As we go on, the ratings of the bots become larger and larger. A brief review, we have already eliminated all the beginner bots, the 15 of them. We defeated them with white and with black pieces, 30 wins in 30 games, many months ago during the summer. And then we went to the intermediate. We got okay with the first row, defeated all of them with ease, but we got stuck at Emir. Defeated Emir with white, lost with black. A few months later, we resumed in another series, and this time we're not going to stop after every loss. We had a couple of draws and a couple of losses at some point, but now we reach David. And let's see what David can do when David has the white and I have the black. Hola, come at me, says David, and let's play. Starts with the F pawn. I wouldn't say the best. Do you want to give me a fool's mate? If I go to e5 and if you go to g4, it's over. Let's see if we'll be that lucky. But e5 is in general a good move, no matter how David replies. No fool's mate, but not the best way to open. Let's check with the bishop to c5 and get a tempo. Pawn goes to d4, we'll get the pawn. Another check. Now we cannot take it because then we lose the bishop to the king. But let's place a bishop back to g6, and then we'll think how to continue. We already have an extra pawn. If queen goes to h4 check, pawn goes to... Oh, let's take a little by little. Let's take the knight from b8 to c6 to protect the pawn even more. What can I do? I wish the queen could go to h4. It's a check, but then pawn to g3, and I don't see a follow-up. Let's take the other knight out to f6. Queen goes to b2. You shouldn't move the queen again and again. And let me also open the bishop on c8, move the pawn so bishop has a better luck. If queen could go to e4, it would be a fork if it was not for f3 pawn. Yeah, no luck there. Let's castle kingside. David seems to be a little bit lost at the opening. Pawn to g3. What if we attack the queen with the bishop going to a5? We win another pawn, good, to b4. You see my knight on f6, excuse me, not on f6, on c6 is protecting the bishop. What can we do now? Let's take the bishop out, but where? To e6 or to f5? To e6 for now. Bishop is attacked, I cannot take the pawn because of the knight. Let's see if we can pin the e3 pawn, the bishop going to c5. The attacker bishop. We're ahead by 2 pawns, so we can exchange. And of course, the knight will come to h3 for David. I don't want the knight to end up anywhere near, so I'm going to push the pawn to h6. So the knight has only one square to go back if attacked. Let's attack the knight. See, will it go back, or will the king come to defend it, or the knight come to defend it, or what? Or the knight goes back. So what can we do? I wish I could... takes the pawn on e3, the bishop attacks it, but there's no second force, and the knight cannot go to d5 to attack it because the queen will grab it. Let's attack it with my pawn. Let's push the pawn to e4 and attack the pawn at f3. Let's take the pawn at f3. Let's win as much material as possible and open the position. But how? If I take the knight, takes the pawn, and then bishop is a little bit blocked. Can the knight go to g4, e3, can go with a check, and then so what? If it goes to g4, then the pawn at e3 is not exactly for grabs, but yes. Now, we'll put a rook on e8 and attack the pawn on e3. We need one more force to attack the pawn. Let's start exchanging. Knight takes on d4. Pawn from c3 will take back, yes. What can we do? Can queen go from b5 check? If queen checks on b5, what will happen? I don't think we're going to lose anything. Yes, worst comes to worst, we exchange queens. We're ahead by 2 pawns, not too much, but how can I attack without my lady? You cannot. Now, I have a fork if my knight goes to f2, but I'm also going to lose my bishop. Let's try it. You're going to lose the bishop, I know that. At least I won a rook. No, I don't lose the rook. Okay, that's not so bad. Save my bishop. I'm going to lose the knight on, I didn't on h1. No, because the rook would rather protect the pawn. Okay, let's see if I can save the knight. My knight is saved, and I have a lot of x plus 7, as you see here, a lot of extra material. Knight goes to h4. What can we do? I wish I could send something on each. If I check with the pawn on d5, then king takes it, and then knight does what? Knight does nothing. It would be a fork if it was not for the bishop at b2. Okay, let's prepare for next time to check. Yes, now the pawn is protected. King cannot take it. Do we have to worry about the knight going to f5 and checking? No, because there's a pawn on g3. Otherwise, yes. What I want to do is I want to check from h5, but then king goes to g4. So first things first, let's push the pawn to c6. Sorry, I'm confusing A with H and B with G. Okay, good. Now, if I check from H5, it's from A5, I'm sorry, it's A5. King cannot go in the fifth rank, can only go to 6. But there is a so what? Let's move the rook to E8 so I can X-ray the pawn at E3. If my knight goes to D2, the rook is attacked. Yes, and fortunately there's a pawn on D4 that blocks the bishop on B2, otherwise it would be very dangerous. Okay, here we are. We attack both the pawn at E3 and the bishop at B2. If I check here, king can go 2 squares. So let's take with the knight the pawn, and then I'm threatening fork on c2. Yes, and the fork become a reality. Of course, I'm going to lose my knight, but then I'll going to win the bishop. Great, we are doing very, very well until now. Yes, the knight protects the pawn on d4, doesn't allow for a check. What can we do now? Double the rooks on the e-file. It's ready for the pawn on a2, unless it advances. No, it did not. And threaten checkmate. With the pawn on a2, if we can take it. No, we could not take it. Please, let's take the pawn on d4. We'll send the rook on a2. And I think we are near the mate. Pawn goes to b5 check. I think knight will take it, otherwise mate next move. Yes, another check here. And king goes to a4, and now it should be made. Yes, we beat David with the black pieces, I would say, relatively easily. I'm surprised that he didn't play as well as Emir, for example, that had a much lower rating. And let's see the review. $88.3 for me, 79.5 for David. Let's see the ratings. I played as if I was 2100, 1200 for David. No brilliant, no great, no book moves. Best 19 versus 13 for me. Excellent 20 versus 19 for me. Good for each of us. Inaccuracies 5 for David, 3 for me, and mistakes 3 for David. And let's start the review. Of course, a mistake from the very beginning, and I'm already up by 0.6. As you see here, 0.69 if you read this one. Yes, the best move. Another mistake, 2 mistakes, 2 first moves, and I'm already up by 174. Not the best, but okay with the check. A good move. I win the pawn, although the computer would rather have it win it with my e-pawn taking on d4, but then this would block my bishop. That's why I took it with my bishop. My bishop goes back, of course. Another inaccuracy. Well, with good moves, we were quite ahead, although until now, most moves were more or less good. Up at 2.56, 3.34 after the inaccuracy and the mistake. This is my inaccuracy. I wanted to liberate the bishop on c8, but the computer would rather have me start pushing the pawn from a7 to a6. I'm not sure why. Another inaccuracy, 3.88 for me, is blocking the move. I win another pawn. The computer would rather have me win it with my knight instead of the bishop, but I want to attack again. See, little by little, after the first mistakes and inaccuracies of David, in spite of one inaccuracy that I had myself, in spite of most of my moves being good instead of excellent or best, I'm quite a lot ahead, 485. The computer would rather have me push the e-pawn to e4, but then, first of all, this would give the knight on h3 a square of f4 to enter the game. I didn't like it. I wanted, that's why I pushed this pawn here from h7 to h6, so the knight on h3 has nowhere to go other than go back to g1. Now an attack goes back to g1. Well, the computer would rather have the king. Yes, the knight doesn't have to go back. Can be supported by the king, by the knight on e2 going to g1, or by the queen on d1 going to f1. But David sent it back. Yes, the best move. I take a pawn. Yes, David does some good moves, but it's not very consistent. Inaccuracies, the computer doesn't like it. So from 528 up, I'm going up to going down to 3.40. I lose one third of my advantage approximately, but I'm still quite ahead. 313 after the exchange of the queens. David misses one chance after another, at least to take a piece back. So the result is I'm up by 591 and now by 6. Finally, 6, somewhere between 5 and 6. 623 now. 634, 685, 697. And now by 711, I'm up by 711, which is an important advantage. I mean, from now on, it's very difficult for me not to win the game. What can David do? There is no rook to threaten checks. There is no faraway bishop. There's a knight that might fork, but even if I miss a fork, I have too many pieces to win the game. And now, after the king goes to a4, we have 6 moves. How many did I need? I needed exactly 6 moves. Yes, so this time I played well. But is it because I played 6 good moves or because David messed up even more? M6? No, I missed one move. M5 now, M4. M4, another second time I missed something. M3 now. M3. M2. And now M1. And that's it. Yes, I missed a couple of moves, but still it didn't set me back. I just not advanced the M. So this was quite an easy win against David. And I'm really surprised that if you look at the bots, we had the Emir with a rating of 1200 give me tougher time than David with 1400. The next one is going to be Ali from Indonesia, I believe. Yes, so, but in the meantime, we might try one more puzzle rush and let's see if anything happens. How are the tournaments going? Nothing new in the grecochess. Still 2 games between Maxim Govorukha from the Ukraine and Barak 7 from Israel to end the tournament, see who can get at least 1.5 out of 2 points. If they both get 1 point, I'll have to discuss with the two of them how to resolve the tie. And let's see the other tournament, the Underwater Moonlight. Been following because it was organized by one of our subscribers. Underwater Moonlight, the 9 Moons tournament. We are second round. And in Group 1, AMMT from Indonesia leads with 6 points. In Group 2, General F from Greenland, excuse me, from Uzbekistan, another player, I'm sorry, is from Greenland. From Uzbekistan, General F66 leads with 5. Group 3, Iraq Lion from Iraq leads with 3. And Group 4, we have a tie between Lysithia Vantres from Japan and Spider 99, I think, from Egypt. Yes, they lead with 5 points from each group. The top 3 will advance to the third round. There are currently 28 survivors in 4 groups of 7. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed these videos. Thanks to the viewers, subscribers, to the likes, and to the comments. This is grecochess. I'm your host, Karilas Aniziris, and from now, goodbye.